Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach. Today we have with us Dave Lee, who is the CEO and co-founder of PlusThis. Welcome to the program, Dave.
Thank you very much, Mike. Appreciate it.
Hey, so what are we plussing? Let's just start off with that.
That is an excellent question.
Thank you. It's kind of right to the point.
So the thing that we plus is about, 15 years, a thing came into being called marketing automation. Uh-huh. And it's software, and it helps, in this case, small businesses capture leads online and convert them to paying customers and clients. And it's a database, it has email marketing, has a bunch of different components. Somebody threw a blanket over it called marketing automation. And what we do with our software is it sits on top of that and extends the functionality. And we've found that users of those marketing automation software systems run into limitations, and it takes too long for these big software producers to really add more functionality. So we started doing that. So we have a huge, call it a toolkit of things that these marketers and small businesses want to do that they can't with the native system. So we just enable that.
So if I'm thinking correctly, it's similar to WordPress, where you can go, I need to do this, let's put in a plugin. Oh, now I can do it. And then similar to right. Zapier, where that'll connect one platform to another, except it probably takes Zapier to a whole other level because you're, saying, ooh, we want to do this whole series of things. And it's almost like you're a developer for many of these top name softwares, but you're doing it in your background and then just kind of connecting it and bolting it on.
That's exactly right. Yes.
Cool. So, first of all, let's talk about marketing automation, why someone would need it, and then we'll dive deeper into then why your product and program is so needed, because I can relate right to it, because we all know that it's like, oh God, I wish I could do this for this one, but then you look at the competitor and it's like, oh, but if I jump over to them, then I lose these things. So now you kind of fill in all the gaps.
Yeah, their marketing automation started off, it was a big business tool. Eloqua and Unica and others were meant for Fortune 500s, and they had the power to do robust email marketing where you could personalize it and merge in contact info and things like that. Well, that shifted down to the mid-market and then to small businesses, and it gave small businesses a power that they never had before. I mean, a solopreneur or a small shop doing, $100,000 up to 20 million had all of a sudden the ability to, number one, get organized, because usually these small businesses have data everywhere, spreadsheets in their Outlook, in different systems. It was a way to get all of their prospects, leads, and customers into one place. It was a way for them to start to use the power of the internet and put lead capture forms on their websites if they had a website, so that they could get inbound leads coming in. And then marketing automation was really solving another problem, which was this follow-up issue, which nobody is perfect at.
Yeah.
And we know it takes, it used to be 10 years ago, it takes at least 7 touch points in order to connect with somebody about your service or product. And that has probably increased to about 12 to 14 touch points now. And nobody can manage that manually across all the activities that they're doing and how busy things are. So we task software with doing that. So we can add somebody to a nurture campaign, for example, that does those touch points automatically for us while we're sleeping or while we're grilling teeth or doing somebody's taxes or whatever my small business does. So it was meant to solve that problem as well, just follow-up failure and just helping maximize time and really save time for small businesses.
And I think the other aspect of automation is it's like the new word of AI. We're going to use artificial intelligence to do things that we know we could do if we understood it fully and had the time to do it, but we're not going to do it because we don't understand it fully, and I certainly don't have the time to do it, so it's not getting done. So then automation comes in, and you're like, oh, well, you mean I can have it do this, and then all of a sudden the output is that? That would work really well. So let's talk a little bit about the benefit of what I think in my opinion, the next level of automation is, which is, okay, someone opts in, you add them to this, they get that. That's the easy things. But what about some of the behavioral triggers that you see that you would recommend people be paying attention to? Like, when someone's on your email list and they not only open your email, but click on a link or two or three, now that lead becomes way better than another person just sitting on your email list, not even opening your email. So we want that person to get into maybe a higher, touch campaign, or we at least want to know about that, like lead scoring. So how does that look in automation?
Yeah, in automation, it's come a long ways, and it's actually a ton of fun because you're able to target your message more precisely. And so, for example, in our toolkit, we have a tool we call video triggers. And what we were finding was marketers and small business owners were starting to use a lot more video in their marketing and in their membership systems or in their fulfillment of whatever they do. But they wanted to track how much of their video content was being consumed so that they could then trigger a different campaign or a different follow-up, or, hey, this certification series that you're in, I noticed that you didn't complete watching video number 3. Is there a problem? Can we help you, or whatever? Lots of different use cases. And so the video hosts out there, everybody knows YouTube. There's Vimeo, there's Wistia, and there are others, but those are the big 3. Those providers give you kind of generic data about how much people are watching the videos, but it doesn't give it to you based on each contact. It'll give you an IP address, but you have no idea who that person is.
Right.
And so one of our tools allows you to do that. If they are a known person in your database, in your marketing automation software, and you send them a link to a video and they go watch that video, our tool will enable you to track them, how much they watch of it, how far in, did they hit certain key things in there, did they complete it, and then that can automatically trigger other things to happen. So actual behavior of watching something is super important nowadays. Engagement of emails. Are they opening your emails? Are they clicking on links? How much have they done that in the past 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? Those are all super important indicators. Are they attending webinars if you do webinars? Are they going to your site? All those behaviors would absolutely bubble up somebody, vis-a-vis lead scoring or just triggers that you set in this kind of tripwire system that you can create in your business, and flag those people or automatically assign them to a sales rep to contact because they have bubbled up, or assign them to you if you're a one-person show, and you know that they are ready because they've done these 13 things and they're ready now, or they just raise their hand and call you or email you and say, I'm interested. So it's just a way of really, it's called marketing automation, but the cool thing is over the past, 5 years, is companies have taken marketing automation, which typically was built for the front end of your business, for the lead generation, marketing, and sales component, and automating that. But now it's really become workflow management and automation for small businesses, because now you can, what we're trying to do is create the ideal client journey from the moment they hear about you on your website or whatever, all the way through till they're educated about your service or product, through the fulfillment of it, that is a beautiful, scripted thing that happens every single time perfectly well. And that's kind of the goal and the beauty of marketing automation and how it's evolving now.
Well, I couldn't agree more, and I think that you brought up something really powerful, which is the two things I want to hit on is there's things that will, with the engagement in the video as that example you were mentioning, it's not just bubbling it up to go, here's this big report, Excel file, pie chart, whatever, that shows this person watched this. So you get the benefit of personalization, but it actually then triggers another action. So because they watched this many times and watch it again or spent this long, whatever trigger you put in there, now let's send them this. And maybe it's something that you're going to go, hey, didn't you love that video? And I mean, I don't know, hypothetically, if you set it to where everyone that got to at least halfway through, send them this, and you're like, hey, didn't you like in minute 12 where we talked about X? Here's just an extra report that goes a little bit deeper on that. Thought you might like this. Well, that they at least got there. Whereas if you sent that email to someone that watched it the first 10 seconds and bolted, now they're going to go, I didn't get that far. So I think those automations really, really are pretty huge. So are you seeing then with some of the automation that you're launching, the engagement is just going through the roof and people are responding well to that?
Yeah, they are responding really well, and the thing that people love is they're seeing more relevant content. Another example is we've got another tool that synchronizes call it your marketing automation funnel with what your prospects and customers are seeing in Facebook. Facebook has become this massive advertising platform, and small businesses are taking advantage of that. And a problem is if I'm spending money on Facebook advertising, then I want to make sure I'm using that effectively. And if I'm serving up ads to customers that have already bought, that's a huge waste of money. So what we do is we call it Facebook funnel matching, where in Facebook you have these things called custom audiences, where I can define, okay, these types of people or this group of people, I want to serve up an ad, which is call it an ad to just educate them about who I am or what I do. It's not to buy. It's just maybe a content piece. I'm going to have them download a PDF or a white paper or something. But once they do that and they've entered my database and I've delivered that content piece, now I want to, they've moved down the funnel. Now I want to match that in Facebook. So I'm going to take them out of that initial custom audience in Facebook and move them into maybe my warm audience, custom audience in Facebook, and serve them a different ad, which might be a call to a consult. Hey, I see that you have concerns about your smile. If I'm a dentist, cosmetic dentist, would you like a free consult? It's a virtual consult. And the ad is for that, which would be a better ad for that somebody that's a little warmer than just a cold audience trying to drive them to a consult, which isn't very effective. So the relevance has increased, and the results are much stronger.
Yeah, it made me think of an example once where with Facebook tracking pixels, and if someone sees this, then also deliver that to them. And one time, and I know this was happening on this example, this one person that I follow on Facebook was doing this webinar, and I was like, oh, let me check that out, click, and I looked at the landing page, and it wasn't an industry that I would want to attend the webinar. I just like to see what he did, and I just left the page, and then the next day, there's an ad in my feed with him holding up this big white, poster board that goes, why didn't you register for the webinar? And then it's like, I know you came here. And it's like, yeah, that's pretty good, because if I had been interested, might have been like, oh, that's right, personalized. So you're doing that through cross-channel.
Yes. Yep.
That's huge. Hey, I want to touch on another piece which you really brought up, which we could talk for about 3.5 more hours, which is the buyer's journey. And I think that people don't really realize this, but people don't come to your website and go, cool, give it to me. How much can I pay you the most package that you have? They have to go through a certain number of steps, or the journey as we call it, and maybe they have to get to know you a little bit, then they have to learn a little bit more, and then they have to overcome certain questions in their mind that they may or even may not know that they have, until they get to the point where it's like, I totally understand this, I get it, now I want it. So your product and service connects all of these platforms to help assist that. My question is, do you offer or find yourself working with clients where you go, this is so important, I want you to use our software and not get confused by it, so let's help you map out your customer journey to make sure that now we know this software is really delivering results for you so that you can't leave and it's just always working for you, kind of like that invisible salesman?
Yeah, I mean, we the mistake that most people make is they think it's all about the thing, or their product or their service, and that's only half of the success equation. What we're learning now, and Disney is a great example. They have really nailed this. It's not just about the rides and the $30 hot dog or food or things like that. It's about the experience. And so even a CPA or an attorney or a dentist or a yoga studio or an MMA studio, whatever it is, it's not about the product or service. It's about the experience, or it's at least 50-50. Like to succeed today, you have to have great product or service, and you have to have a great experience. And so what people are doing today is using marketing automation to help create that experience. And it's too big of a thing for my software company to handle. I mean, we consult and advise as people use our tools and our toolkits. But really, our software company was born out of a consulting company. So our consulting company, which is 6th Division, they do that. They help small businesses with their client journey mapping and what that looks like, and helping people identify what is that perfect journey for their prospects and customers, because it's becoming a bigger and bigger deal, and those that nail that are the ones that are winning.
Yeah, so that's really interesting. Now let me make sure I got this right. The software company was born out of the consulting company, correct?
Yes.
Because the consulting company was like, here's what you need to do.
We were in the trenches.
Yeah, and you guys were telling people, do this, and here's how to do it, and here's the strategy, and they're like, I'm confused, I can't. And then you're like, well, here, just do this, and then
here's the tool to make it easier.
Here's the tool. Yeah. As opposed to starting with the software and then going, people are still confused, so now let's consult them. You're starting at the top and working down.
That's correct.
And so that's great. How do you find people are mostly coming to you? Are they coming to you through the consulting first and then automation, or is automation capturing their attention and then they go, help us, we need help with the kind of the strategy?
Yeah, most people come through. Number one, they need to be on one of the top marketing automation platforms, and there are a handful of them out there. And there's Infusionsoft, which just rebranded to Keep, is their name, KEAP. There's ActiveCampaign, Drip, HubSpot, Ontraport. There are a bunch of others, but those are the ones that we see as the leaders and work with them. So we get lots of referrals from the employees of those companies, the sales reps, the service reps, and it's really a user will come in or a customer will come in, they'll have a need, they'll get on that platform, they'll stub their toe for a while, and they'll realize, like, I want to do more advanced campaigns, or I want to just make it easier. What else is out there? They eventually find us either through referral or just searching. But you're right, we do get a lot of referrals from this channel of marketing automation consultants that are out there, and there are lots of them. So we work a ton with them.
So what do you think is probably the biggest mistake that you see people are making when they realize, okay, I think automation will work for me. I'm going to give it a try, and kind of like, Yoda, don't try, do, right? But what do you think that people are making the biggest mistakes? Where can you point to, and then how can they overcome that?
It's really easy to blame software. It doesn't have a heart or a soul, and it's easy to blame. But the truth is, about 99.9% of the time, it's us. It's us that are putting limitations on ourselves, or we just simply don't know how to map a business process. Nobody ever taught us that. And so it's, if you can't figure it out, don't blame the software. Go get help. And there's just a ton of help out there, and a ton of it is free. There are a lot of free resources around, what these different campaigns look like. We publish our software company, we publish a book every year called Campaigns of the Titans. And it's just a self-published piece. This last one was, I think, 400 pages. And all it is how it's case studies. I think there are 20-something case studies, and we pick apart how the marketer did it and basically unveil everything. And we're not the only ones that do this. There are lots of companies out there in the marketing automation world that produce a ton of free content and how-tos, because people get hung up on two things. Number one, what are the successful people doing? What kind of marketing automation campaigns and things are they doing? And then number two, how do I actually implement it? Like, show me the step-by-step process. And so that's part of the game that we're in is helping show that.
I love it. I think that just makes so much sense, because you can say this works and that works, but then when you see those case studies, it's like, oh, I'm not in the dental field, but I see what they did there. That's really cool.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, that's really good. Well, hey, any final tip, and then how can people learn more about your automation software?
Yeah, I guess one final tip has nothing to do with automation, although automation can help. But I've made the mistake of going after top-line numbers, and I've just completed a book called Profit First by Mike Kalowitz, and I would recommend that every business reads this. I'm formally trained MBA and was going down that path, and then decided to make a shift. And I wish I had read this book much earlier, because it throws everything on its head around how a P&L should look like. And it's just been amazing. So it's kind of changed my perspective of business success, because we became very close to running one of our businesses out of business because we were focused so much on top line revenue instead of profit.
Yeah,
so that's
a great
just
one.
Just a quick tip. And then, to get a hold of me, our website is PlusThis.com. And I'm just Dave at PlusThis.com is my email, and my Facebook is facebook.com/Dave Lee.
Awesome. Well, Dave, thanks so much for your time. It was great chatting with you and get to know you.
Same, likewise. Appreciate it.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneursradio.com.